Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. Um, I watched Friday's episode of YNR, and I want to talk a little bit about that because, honestly, to tell you the truth, this episode had a certain points when it was good, and other points where it just felt pointless and vapid. But I want to talk about specifically the Nate and Elena scene. I don't understand how they're writing Nathan or Nate. I don't get how they're writing Nate because Elena is basically sitting there telling him that the reason why this meeting didn't happen and the contract negotiating and everything like that was because of Amani. Basically, sitting there saying that Amani is well, I want to sit there and say poisoning him. In some ways, she is. Stroking his ego, you know, getting him all fired up about Devon and everything like that, and you know, telling him that she's trying to go after him. And he just acts like a complete and utter dumbass. I watched it on, well, actually, no, I watched it on Saturday. No, I watched it on Sunday, never mind. I watched it on Sunday, and I was like, how is this man this stupid? I mean, not only did he defend her towards his own girlfriend, okay, let's just talk about just how jacked up that is. But he actually came out his mouth and was like, "You're always taking Devon's side over me," And Elena's like, "No, he has more. He has more business experience. You know that." She literally tried to put it in words that would make sense by talking about a doctor and going in surgery and you know as far as a person that's more experienced will go in there as opposed to somebody who's less experienced. She tried to put it in phrases that he would understand. And somehow he still managed to find a way to make her look like the bad guy, talking about how Devon is holding him back. I'm like, sweetheart, I don't know what you actually saw in this man besides his looks, but you need to get to walking because this jackass is clearly allowing Amani to get between them. I couldn't understand. The other stuff was kind of, but I figured I wanted to talk at least about, you know, what really, I guess was really interesting, but is also really stupid and really bothersome. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be honest, as I'm watching this show, I was like, this show actually has potential to be really good. It has potential. But as I'm watching this episode, I'm just like, man, I wish this was a better soap opera. I really do wish this was a better soap opera. Because for a good minute, I couldn't even remember Faith name. And this is the most vapid, pointless scene. I don't understand the people that love Mariah and Tessa because they don't do anything. They may have had great adventures back in the day, but that's like if you sat there and you put Luke and Laura together and you have them do the exact same scenes. People are going to look at them like, have you lost your goddamn mind? Having Tess come, she's like, oh, I can speak. I was like, cool, you're going to be doing a little bit more like talking instead of the facial expressions that you were making. But whatever, I get it. Your voice and everything like that. Their whole scene goes nowhere. Mariah goes to work. Now Tess wants her to stay home. And they do their lovey-dovey, sappy. I just, oh my god. I can't stand their scenes so much. And don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of love scenes. I love This Is Us. I remember one scene that actually had me teared up, and it wasn't even a sad scene. This was a scene between Jack and I really gotta start watching this again. I actually forgot her name. And it's not Kate. Hold on, Rebecca. Oh my goodness. I'm on the last season, and I will finish it. But the fact that I couldn't remember her name is just anyway. There's a scene with Jack, and he is buying. Well, he had a choice between buying something else or buying a camcorder, or some sort of video recorder to record his family and his wife. And I remember him choosing his wife because of how much he loved her. And he was, I guess, in a golf store with his friends. And, he was explaining to them how much he loved her. And I don't know, it was something about that just had me tearing up. And it's hard to describe, but it had me tearing up. So I'm not, it's not that I don't like love scenes or scenes where they're expressing their love to each other. But for some odd reason, them doing it's over the top and it just comes across as vapid. I mean, afterwards, Tess was sitting there talking. Well, Faith was leaving to go to college, and she was talking to Moses, two other characters that don't really mean anything in the show. Um, he might have meant something at one point, but as far as I'm seeing them now, they don't really matter. Tess was sitting there talking to Sharon about her fears, and she wants to take the job because she feels like it's a pity job or something like that. And I'm like, sweetheart, are you rich? No? Well, then I suggest you get on the ball and start, you know. Like, don't turn her. I mean, I understand the fact that she feels that her dream job, which she worked so hard for, might be gone, and she's afraid of that. And she doesn't like the idea of somebody just giving her a hand me down. I get that. But at the same time, I don't want to sit there and say these are rich people's problems. And I was like, boo, the way that Sharon tried to tell her the positive sides of it, and she was like, yeah, that's a good point. I'm like, you act like you're not going to be getting paid well. You're not going to be having a little bit of fun and dressing up and stuff like that. Like, I get it. But it's like, it's nothing to sit there and turn her nose at. And I'm not saying that's what she was doing, but it's like you're bitching and complaining because you're getting another job offer. Boo hoo. Like, I know that this is a fantasy, and I probably shouldn't sit there and put in real world experiences, but there are so many people out of jobs that's not trying to look for jobs, and the fact that she got another one to just hand it right down to her. She's like, I don't know if I should take this because it feels like a pity job. Like, God. Like, my goodness, you are a waste of. I don't want to just say it's just a waste of oxygen and well, oxygen, but like so much of a waste in general. So Nick and Nicky are sitting there talking about Victor covering stuff up and everything like that. And Victor comes in and Victor's like, I can handle this. Don't worry about it. Stop talking about it. Like, let it go. It's already too late. And I feel like he's going to be sitting there bitching, complaining about this for quite a while. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he doesn't have a right to be upset. But I'm like, bro, just go with, what I'm saying? Like, it's already happening. Unless you're gonna go to the cops and be like, nope, that's not what happened. I punched my dad. Well, he found him and he wanted to make sure that I get in trouble. Unless you're gonna go and give a confession, shut up. So they leave. Chance comes over. Now Chance was talking to Kevin, and Kevin has some new footage that showed that somebody else. Okay, here's the problem with this whole scene: is that it's not too clear. Like, okay, if they actually had something visual to sit there and show us, then I can sit and look at it and be like, okay, cool, I can see how this can work. But just having something there trying to describe it, it's like, why are you going to sit there and whatever this was, if this was really so good, then they would take this to the DA and they would start really investigating this. Instead, I guess they couldn't confirm which driver it was, but they knew it was a driver and they knew it wasn't Ashland, and I guess that was sort of enough. So he comes to the ranch. Now, again, I love this scene of Victor sitting there at the chess table. He has, the golden chess pieces on one and then the regular, I guess, black or white. I can't remember. I think it was black on the other. And I feel like even that means something. So he had this whole scene going. Chance sits down and, well, at first, he shows him the footage, right? Shows him the footage. Like, okay. Now, at some point, I'm just like, bro, you do realize that you have a really expensive lawyer on retainer, right? Is there a particular reason why you keep Smith there, talking to him without a lawyer? Is there anything whatsoever? Like, why are you not? So he looks at, he's like, okay, what am I supposed to be looking at? Okay, yeah, I see a cigarette butt. All right, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I feel like I would have to see this footage because if this footage was so damning that he saw a security person. He couldn't make out the face or whatever. But they got the butt. Eventually, they're going to do a DNA. They're going to sit there and find the security guard. But I'm like, if this was so, open and shut, wouldn't you have had at least security guard down there? I know that this show sometimes it feels like it's moving at a snail's pace. But after he sits down and he tells him like, hey, listen, I got some footage, man. It's only a matter of time. Victor decides to play hypotheticals. Well, what if it was your wife and I covered up something that she did in order to protect her? What would you do then? And I'm like, Victor, I love you, but what does this have to do with, I don't know, the price of tea in China? Nothing? No? Okay, cool. So I don't really understand why you brought this up. And Chase was not happy. He was like, what does this have to do with anything? Victor brings up the family card. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, what do you call him? Because it wasn't like one of the things I started watching that I really found hilarious when he used to then say "old Billy boy." What did he call him? He called him um "Oh Chance boy" or something like that, or "Oh boy Chance." It was something where it felt like it was some sort of western or whatever. Like people don't normally talk like that anymore, and it reminded me when he used to sit there and say "Oh Billy boy." And somehow, for some odd reason, I used to always get excited when he said that. I don't know why, but it was just a catchphrase that he used. And every time he used it, I just laughed and I just waited. So when he said that, I found that kind of funny. It's like, I remember you sit there and call him a Billy Boy. Are you gonna start calling him that now since he's somewhat the enemy? You know, since he's not gonna be down with the family. Is it gonna be a new nickname for him? Because if so, I'm with it. So after that, he leaves, calls the family over. Everyone gets there. Nikki, um, Nikki, Nick, Victoria. And Victor's like, all right, things aren't really well right now. I mean, I'm definitely going to sit there and have to deal with somebody in my security team. He's like, yeah. Um, he just kind of sits them down, just kind of prepare them for how bad the situation's getting. He doesn't say anything yet, and that's where it kind of stops. Now, I feel like Chance is going to sit there and take Adam up on that offer. I feel like he's going to take him up on that offer. Nikki was not too happy when they went down to um, is it called Society? Yeah, Society. when they went down there to society, and Nick was like, "Yeah, Sharon knows." And Nick is like, "You do realize that you." Well, actually, she didn't say it. She was like, "You know better than to sit there and tell outsiders, the information, information or whatever, or what's going on with the family." And I'm like, "You do realize that they have a daughter together, right?" I don't understand that. Like, it's not like they were married at one point. They have a child, or they had a child. I don't get that. But he was like, "Oh well, struggling, this, that, and the third." And once again, Nick goes on this damn whining tangent, and it's just I feel like after a while, it's like my brain just kind of just like, because I got to a point where it's like Nick whining and complaining. It just, I don't want to sit there and say it's vapid because it's understanding, but just the constantness of it, it's just like, it's like, bro, if you're not gonna be part of the solution, then just do me a favor and just keep your damn mouth shut. Like, for real, just shut up. Jack was there for a few minutes. I felt like his presence serves no purpose, but he was there. Kyle met up with Diane. They went to work. And, Summer Smith then making sure that Phyllis is on her P's and Q's when she goes into the office. So she's all like, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything to Diane, blah, 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 blah." She gets down there. She signs the contract. Um, at this point, all of them meet up. Diane, Mariah, um, yeah, Diane, Mariah, Phyllis, Summer, and Kyle. They all meet up. And it's just a very awkward scene of both Phyllis and Diane trying to play nice to each other. And you could just feel it in the air. And at some point, Mariah's like, "Diane, you want to sit there and talk to me about something, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, I want to talk right now." Like, they couldn't wait to get out of that situation, especially um, Mariah. I had no idea what she actually did, like, as far as work goes. I had no idea that she worked for Marquetti or whatever, doing PR and stuff like that. I had no idea about that because usually we're spending time with her and Tessa doing a bunch of vapid, pointless scenes that seem like they go nowhere because they don't. Um, Now, after Phyllis signs her contract and Summer and Kyle go off to do, I don't know, work stuff, Phyllis sends a group text to Ashley and Nikki, talking about, "Oh, I just signed my contract. The party's on." And I'm like, "Phyllis, you are celebrating you getting started on taking revenge or driving a woman out of town for stuff that she did over 20 something years ago." I'm going to be honest. Is anyone actually interested in this whole Phyllis and Ashley and Nikki taking down Diane at this point? And I'm not going to judge you if you are, because I've been watching the show for a while. Okay, I've been watching the show for a while. There is a certain level of there is a certain payoff to that. Okay, and I use this example again. General Hospital. If Alcazar came back, I don't really care which one because apparently they were twins and blah blah blah. But if Alcazar came back, let's just say the first one, he came back to General Hospital. I think both of them died, unfortunately, but let's just sit there and say one of them came back. It would be so much more impactful to me than if somebody was watching this, I don't know, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and he wanted to get back at him. Now, I guess it would be a little bit differently because they were in like very criminal and shady business and stuff like that. So obviously, Sonny would want to sit there and take him down again. But I don't really know what's the equivalent of that. Let's just sit there and say Tony. Okay, Carly, was like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit there and get back at Tony for something." She shot Tony in the head or whatever. I know it's very difficult. I probably would have to go back to the Alcazar thing because I feel like it will be a great payoff since I've watch him deal with Alcazar from the start, and having him come back years later will be really interesting. So I understand if people are excited about this revenge plot that they're doing, but I mean, they've been talking about this for weeks. Okay, they've been sitting there planning and plotting and everything like that. Oh, we got to think get Diane out of town. They've been having actual meetings. Okay, these three women of power. Okay, these three bosses sat around drinking mimosas, talking about how they're gonna get rid of some shit. I'm like, Phyllis, don't you have a whole hotel to run? Nigga, don't you got stuff to do? Ashton, don't you got like stuff to do at the lab or whatever? Y'all seriously got time to be doing this? I find this, and this is so when she sent that text, I was like, are you kidding me? This is a joke, right? Every day I watch this, and I know that this is the actual plot. But there's a part of me that's just like, tell me that this is just one big joke. Tell me that these three women that have nothing apparently going on with their lives, and it's amazing too because Nikki's like, oh, you gotta sit there and make sure you don't mess this up. Nikki, you got a murder investigation going on. You really still for this rah 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 get dying out of town? Ashley, I have no idea what the hell she's doing, so maybe she's on board, even though that we rarely see her. Sure, whatever. Phyllis, I don't even have any words for her. So, if she wants to sit there and take time out of her day, sell the hotel, and start working at Marquetti, even though she's built this hotel from the ground up, but she really wants to do that just to get back at Diane after flushing her relationship down the toilet. Who am I to sit there and judge her, right? Okay. And I almost forgot about something. The combo between Victoria and Abby. I think it was actually nice seeing them together because, um, they're sisters, and I haven't really seen them in the same setting, like, actually having a talking scene. And of course, it didn't really go anywhere. I mean, Victoria was just there telling Abby, "Can't you make him see that he's just dragging us out and it's just causing us more pain?" And it's like, no, Victoria, she's not going to do that. And I feel like she probably, actually, to tell you the truth, she did sit there and start asking questions that she shouldn't be asking. So I wouldn't put it past her to even ask Chance again, hey, can you just sit there and just drop this and let this go? Because reasons. Um, that was pretty much about it. Anyway, it was just really nice that they're seeing those two together. Um, I wonder who Abby's mother is. I gotta sit there and look that up because obviously they have different mothers. Victor was a very busy man back in the day. I'll sit there and say he was probably as busy as Sonny. Minus Morgan, but I mean, even with Morgan, you got Christina, you got Michael, you have Dante. I feel like I'm missing somebody. I really do. And Donna and Avery. Damn, 6 children. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Victor was a very busy man back in the day, obviously. Anyway, I feel like that's pretty much about it. These reviews always surprise me because, like, this episode came across in the beginning so vapid. I was just like, God, what am I going to sit there and talk about? Anyway, I guess that's the part that I actually really love about doing this is that even though the episodes could be whatever the hell that they thought they were trying to do, I can still have fun sitting there talking about it. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see everyone in the next video.